Me. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Global Flow series. I am so excited and honored to have Paula Lacobara here with us today. Welcome, welcome.
I am so excited. Thank you. Very excited to be here with you, Joanna. Thank you for inviting me, and hello, everyone.
Amazing, amazing. So I'm going to read your official bio because I love it. Although I will get into that story in a minute, but let me just introduce you to Paula. She's a women's empowerment coach who specializes in supporting women step into their power without sacrificing their femininity in their lives. She is mostly known for helping women fully confident, feel fully confident and aligned with their deepest desires so they can live their truth unapologetically and create life on their own terms. She takes a stand for women fully honoring their beautiful, wild, powerful selves. She guides women individually and in groups, and she also hosts retreats in Isla Mujeres in Mexico, that gorgeous island just off Cancun, that place I'm trying to pronounce. And she's built 2 successful 6-figure businesses in the last 5 years. Paula is very passionate about guiding ambitious women to fully apply feminine principles in their business so they can live with passion, purpose, and create authentic relationships and long-lasting success. Oh, sorry, I tripped over that a little bit.
I know, but see, when you're reading it, I'm like, I know I did all that, but we were talking about what we were talking about just now before we jump on a call.
Right. So I just shared with Paula that obviously I've been stalking all of my guests quite extensively. And I was on her website and she has this incredible about me page. And a lot of the people that I've interviewed and a lot of people just in life, their about me thing is like this big and it says, hey, I help people with this. And I just was joking. I was like, and I like yoga, unicorns, and spending time with my family, right? And it's like, great. I'm so pleased. And where that's perfect for those people, right? That is my like a little bit like my bio. No. So, but she has this beautiful long story on her page. And when I read it, I really connected with it. I felt like I knew her better. And I was actually just thanking you for having that because it gave me a lot easier insight and I didn't have to go trying to figure out who you actually were before this interview. So thank you for that. Obviously not everybody else has had that opportunity, although we do have your website link so you can go and read the full story if you want to. But
it's long, but yeah.
It's a beautiful story. Can you tell us a little bit about who you are and how you got to be doing what you do today? And I was just saying that you show up as this beautiful woman in her power. And we're going to talk more about that, but we forget that people have a story and a past and we just see you as you are today.
Yeah, totally. And I can so relate because I was also there before when I was and where I am today. And who am I? I'm becoming. I am not, I am constantly becoming. It's a constant renewal of who I am. And the more I pay attention to myself, the more I uncover parts of myself that I had no idea were there. And it's not always easy. Sometimes it's easier than others to see those parts, but it's part of the journey that I chose and the part of the journey that I help women with, really getting to know your true self and really operating and living your life from a place of power, femininity, connecting. Meaning femininity, connecting with who you are, because we are women. We are feminine, otherwise we would have been born as men, which there's nothing wrong. It's just like, we're women. And so when, in all of what I do, I keep coming across women who are operating from not their feminine, their masculine, in order to be powerful. And it breaks my heart, not only because I've been there and I know what it feels like and it's pretty sucky.
Yeah.
Right. But also because when I really tapped into my femininity and my feminine power, I'm like, oh my gosh, like everyone needs to be, I've always been one of these people that, and this is why, why then I became a coach. And I'm like, of course, I remember when I had my skincare practice, and I might be jumping on and off in my story, so it would make sense in a minute. But
Okay.
when I had my skincare practice in the city, this was probably about 7 years ago, or no, okay, 3 years ago, 4 years ago. And, I was like, I'm always the one like, oh, did you read this book? Or, oh, you should. And I would do that to my clients, like, you should read that and you should have that. And did you hear about this? And I'll send you the link for that. And like, just really being on this journey because I love to share things. I mean, we all do, right? Like when something feels good, you want to share with people that you care. And so it was funny because, when I started uncovering this power within me, this piece, like the piece of the puzzle that was missing. I was working so hard before to be powerful. I was like, like trying to break my head, trying to figure it out, until I learned that I didn't need to figure it out, that I needed to be it. And talk about flow. Everything's just, it's so much easier when you are it, instead of making it or trying to, it's just, so this is why I'm so passionate about what I do. But basically, to come back to your question, who am I? I love, I'm a coach, I'm a healer, I'm a light being. I am a woman who really desires women to connect with their feminine power so we can shift the reality of the world. Because I live here in the States and things are pretty intense right now. But it's amazing because it's also given us the opportunity, like it's kicking us in the butt to just like come out and like voice our truth. I was reading this book that is about this Shuar community in the tribe in the Amazons, not community, it's a tribe of Indians in the Amazons. And it's so beautiful because their feminine and masculine roles are pretty like intertwined. It's not like, oh, women do this and men do this. Like they're pretty much intertwined, as you can imagine, in a tribe. And of course, men go hunt and women have children and take care of their families. But beyond that, there's like, it's not like there's roles in particular. However, there is one role that it's only, and it's unanimous. Everyone knows that this is the role of the feminine, of women. And their role is to say when it is enough.
I just got goosebumps.
I know, because it's so powerful. Women are the ones that say enough. When it's enough cutting trees, when it's enough hunting, when it's enough going out there and doing the thing, when it's enough that they're not in the house with their children, when it's enough that they're not making love to them, this is what these women do in this tribe. Why do we need women in their feminine? Not just to make money, ladies. And pardon me today, I'm very sassy, by the way. My wow woman is totally out, so bear with me. And I'm going to be very me today. And I trust that you appreciate that.
Don't be anything else. We've all got to learn, right?
Yeah. And I'm coming from a place of pure love. I am not coming from a place of arrogance. It's not that I know more than you do. I just open myself to receive more than maybe you didn't know before. I just happened to bump into this, and that's why I am where I am. Nothing special about me. I'll share a little bit of my story, so it's not about that, but somehow I'm rolling with this. And what I want to say is that women need why is important for us to be in our feminine, because that's our role. The role of the feminine is not to be behind a man. The role of the feminine is to tell the men when it's enough. And if we women can actually open our hearts and do the work and step into our power and trust our voice and connect with who we are, then we'll be able to say enough of this stupid wars, enough of this crappy treatments for women, like they pay them less, pay us less, or well, I manage my own income, so they don't pay me less. Enough of this violence, enough of having to be like so scared walking in the streets because you don't know if someone's gonna rape you, enough. And this is why women, we require to step into our power again, not only to have our beautiful, amazing businesses, and I'm taking the vision a little higher probably to where most women are, because I want us to really tap into this powerful place where we create impact in the world, and the feminine is being called to step up, because we need to be on boards, we need to make the decisions as men as well as men, we need to be taking care of our medicine, taking care of our bodies, taking care of schools and education, we cannot let. And by the way, when I say women in their feminine, not women in their masculine.
Got it.
Because that's what I mean. Right? So, and again, I'm not saying that masculine is bad. It's not about that. However, it's like the yin and the yang, right? Like when you see the symbol, there's the white, and then there's a circle with black. That is like, the white is the feminine, the circle in black is the masculine. That means that most of us in our feminine, in women, require to have most developed our femininity, and then the masculine is not the predominant. Also, when we are in our masculine, our relationships suffer. How many women, Joanna, do you know that in business, and I want you to be frank, how many women you know in business that their relationships are really suffering right now?
A lot, actually. And it actually worries me about it, and to the point where I have spoken with a girlfriend about this, and we're like, should we tell them? Like, do you think they know? Like, we want to do an intervention. Like, it can be that bad. Yeah.
Right. And because we learned, and probably we're going to talk about this, we learned that the only way to be powerful and successful is through the masculine. So and this is nobody's fault. This is the patriarchy. This is what we learned about the world. We didn't really have enough examples of powerful women in their feminine. This is what's coming now. This is like the new wave. So ladies, don't freak out because you didn't know any better. Like, I didn't know any better. That's the truth.
Right.
But now we do have access to this information, and it's awesome. And I'm so glad that you're doing that, because I know, Joanna, part of the work that you do, it has to do with this, is to bring more of the feminine in the flow, what you call, like, in the way that you name it, but it's basically, flow is feminine energy.
Yeah. Well, I was just about to ask you what flow means to you. So I'm not shocked that that's what it is. But can you expand a little bit on that?
Yeah. Well, to me, flow is when we are in alignment. Yeah. When you think of flow, you think of water flowing, right? Like, there is no stopping. There is no, like, it just goes. It just moves and keeps moving. It doesn't, it's not chopped, right? Like, it just flows. When you're in a relationship, it's because it's like the tango, when you're dancing tango, you're flowing, right? It's a pure flow. When there is no flow, you're stepping in each other's foot. So this is the energy of the feminine. This is what I teach, when I teach receiving, which is part of how can we allow ourselves to receive instead of like trying to make things happen. This flow, the energy of receiving is flow energy. And when we are in our feminine, we can connect with, we can attract the masculine, and then from there flow. Now, the beauty is, I know why a lot of women are also going into their masculine, because they are afraid of the masculine. So they go into the masculine to feel safe.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
And this is a biggie. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm taking notes as well, because it's so important, and it's, the safety thing is huge, and and I've been going through, you know, I've shared with you that the journey from being completely in my masculine, I think since I was maybe 5 years old, to where I am today. Like I've always, even in my adult life, I like my makeup and my, you know, putting on a pretty dress, but I was still so masculine and shut down. For anyone who, can we just take one tiny step back before we run forward and get into all this? Some people, and I've been hearing about the masculine feminine for a long time. Well, for 9 months working with one mentor, but I didn't get it. I still was like, what are they talking about? Because it was so foreign to me. And now it is coming into my work, because it has to be, because it's been such a huge part of my growth, and I haven't got there yet. Because I keep uncovering things like this, being afraid of the masculine, and some other things we're going to talk about today. And I'm like, oh, I still have that. Oh, wow. Even this week, I had another massive realization. So what exactly, can we just take one step back? I'd actually love to know a bit about your story. And then, or maybe even, whichever feels right to do first, is what does being in your masculine look like? How would you even know if you were there? And then what does the feminine look like? And what does that mean? Just for 1 second, because I get it, but I just for anybody else.
Well, and here's the thing: it's a becoming. Like I said, we're never gonna get it. I mean, it's so deep and so powerful that we're never gonna get it. I mean, I'm still uncovering levels of my feminine power. It's not, I'm not there. What's there? Like, there's no there. It's where you start feeling more in alignment. That feel oh, things are working. Ooh, that's good. Ooh, that feels good. Anyway, so to tag, it's a beautiful question. And just to kind of bring, first of all, the feminine, it's not about wearing lipstick and dressing up.
Yeah, I was shocked about that.
Right, exactly. And so I love that you just said that, you know, it's beautiful. So being in the masculine is being, I mean, there's different characteristics, obviously, but masculine is about individual, feminine is about collective.
Oh,
for example.
Okay.
Masculine is about force, feminine is about power. Okay.
Beautiful.
Masculine is about anything that has to do with external. Feminine is everything that has to do with internal.
I love it. I've actually never heard it I've never heard the feminine be called the collective and masculine the individual. I've actually never heard that before. And I'm like,
so this is really powerful, right? Masculine is about doing, feminine is about being.
Yeah, I love that. I love it.
So for example, you know, like what we're doing is feminine. We're collaborating. That's a very feminine quality. Masculine tries to do everything on its own, and it thrives in its own, you know, in its own persona. Like it's like it's like gets the reward on its own. You know, women immediately when they get something, they want to share with everybody. You know, that kind of energy.
Yeah.
And I'm not, okay, and here's to clarify too, we're not talking about men or women, we're talking about energies, which is different than being like men or women. We're not talking about men specifically because, like we said, a lot of women are in their masculine, so they are in this state. Masculine is about thought. Feminine is about intuition.
Yeah. I love it. And all of the ways you describe the feminine is all about flow, right? Like there are little elements of each, but it's definitely flow is way more in the feminine for sure. You can't.
Well, but here's the thing. Oh, I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
go.
we got cut
No,
off.
go on.
I thought you finished. No, what I want to say is that there is an action. So think of the dance tango. I'm originally from Buenos Aires, Argentina. So I grew up in the city of tango. Okay.
Yeah.
So when I found these reference, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so on brand. I love it because it's like, it's perfect to explain it.
Right.
So what's the beauty? So when you start learning and why tango flows so beautifully, because it's a perfect, absolutely perfect combination of feminine and masculine in motion. So masculine is action, feminine is motion.
I love that.
So if anyone can go and take a tango class, the beginner class, what they have you do is this. There's a man and there's a woman. But here's the beauty and why it's so important for us to understand this.
Yeah.
The men and the woman, they have you grab each other's forearms and you sort of like are together. And then they ask the men to rock the woman side to side. This is what it does. So you're grabbing the man is grabbing your arm, and the man initiates, because that's also that's a masculine energy, initiation, and then receiving is a feminine. Okay.
Yeah.
So the man initiates the dance by connecting and tapping into the woman and where the woman is. So not only he's initiating, but he's also tuning, which is a feminine energy. He's tuning with her to see where her weight is. If he doesn't tune in with her, which is a feminine action, you see, it's a feminine energy to tune in.
Yeah.
The dance cannot commence because he doesn't know where to make the first step. So first thing that happens is that he connects with his feminine, to tune in with her, so then he can do an action.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Got it.
It's so much more effortless if he knows where her feet are or her weight is. It's going to flow. Instead, if he thinks where she is, it's going to take longer time to figure it out where her weight is. And then the chances are that he probably missed the step and the dance will be all choppy.
I've taken one of those beginner tango classes and it was a hot mess. Not that hot. It was just a mess. And one of the other beautiful things about flow is when you're skilled in it, right? So when they're doing, I also went to see the tango show, which was amazing. And it looks so much more effortless because they're so practiced and so skilled. Right.
But the initiation.
I love that piece. Yeah.
Well, but the start of the dance from the get-go is the man connects with his feminine first to tune in with the woman, and then he takes an action. Now the woman allows herself to receive him. And then the beauty is when he makes a step, when he takes that first step, until the woman doesn't receive it, he cannot continue. Do you see? And so it's a beautiful. The tango dance is a constant agreement of feminine and masculine energy, constantly.
Yeah, I love that.
That's flow, by the way, too. Yeah. But that to me is flow. It's like the perfect alignment between the feminine and masculine energy, but it starts with the feminine.
Yeah, love it. Oh my gosh. Right, I have to write that down. I'm writing that down.
I'm glad we're recording this.
I know, right? I'm like,
I don't even know. It's just coming out. Yeah. Anyway,
it's beautiful, right? I love that, and I feel like that's partly, we're talking about the feminine and how to bring it out, because most of us are so in our masculine. It's like, right, we've got this bit of sus, but we also don't want to shift all the way into our feminine, do we?
No, absolutely not, because it's also right, like then it's both. However, your predominant energy should be the feminine. And okay, scratch that. It's not should. You want it to be the feminine because it's so much easier for us. It's our nature. So there is an action that is the masculine, but it's not the predominant. That's what I was saying, the yin and yang.
Yeah.
Right? There's still some action. There's still some masculine. There's still some doing. There's still some assertion. There's still some but it's not the predominant. Because when we go against our predominant energy, our bodies suffer. Our emotions suffer.
Yeah. So just for 1 second, and this might be a bit of a weird one, but there might be some men as part of this interview series. I don't know if they'll be still listening. If they are, what is, or even for a woman to understand her man better, how are men negotiating this with us changing and claiming that back? And then are they experiencing something similar?
Yeah, well, of course, because everything is shifting. So now men are like freaking confused because they learned that they needed to be machos. They learned that they needed to be a man, you know, and a man does not show his emotions, right? Like a man has to produce and has to provide and has to, like, these are the mandates of the patriarchy. But they're suffering because they actually have emotions. Of course they are. They're humans, but they're not able to show them. So they're shoveling those emotions inside. I mean, there's so many amazing. There is this movie called American Beauty, and it shows what happens when men don't express their emotions. And that's just probably tons of other movies, but that one just came to mind right now.
Yeah.
Of course, like, you know, and so then they don't enjoy life the same. It's all about sacrifice, and it's all about, like, then they seek pleasure, and then they, like, it's just all messed up. So so men also would want to have their predominant masculine energy with a touch of the white, you know, the white circle of the yin and yang of feminine.
Yeah.
But can you see, because truly we are here to complement each other. We're not here to be all.
Yeah.
On our own, because that would be masculine, wouldn't it be? Like, right? Individual.
Yeah. I love it. Yeah. To know that you're one, the dominant, the female dominant at her core and man dominant, and then to have a bit of the other, but not necessarily 50-50, but like, to have to keep that balance and the polarity. Yeah, you need more of one than the other.
Yeah, it's not 50-50. It really, if we look at it from the, you know, from the yin and yang, it would be maybe more like 25 and 75.
Got it.
75 predominant, 20. I'm just putting a percentage. I'm not sure. Don't hold me to it. I'm just like, from looking at it, or a 20% or an 80%, you know, 80-20, whatever they call that. So that's basically it. Is your why? Because your body as a woman is designed, and this is the beauty of the feminine. The feminine resides in the body, not in your head. So the predominant energy of the feminine, when we are too much in our masculine, our body suffers. And we don't experience joy. We don't have that capacity to get into our emotions and feel. We're not, you know, all of these pieces, it's true. We don't experience ease. We don't experience, we're not magnetic, and we have to work really hard for everything that we want. And again, so then your adrenals are shut down. Rates of infertility are insane right now in the world. And it's because of this, because we're constantly pumping up our bodies to push, and we're not, and we're going against nature.
Mm.
So what happens when you go against nature? At some point, it's like, boom, it explodes. I mean, let's see what's happening in the world. We went against nature, right?
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah, so this is it. And I'm talking from women, and from men is the same. If they're all in their feminine, they're going against their nature.
Yeah. It's fascinating, all of this. But
and we can talk for hours on this. Right?
we might. No, but obviously we're in this space in time, and I want to honor this. And what though? So this has been one of my confusions, I think, in this, and a subconscious confusion. I had no idea this was going on. But what makes a woman powerful? I had the realization this week, and we'll go into this a little bit more depending on your answer. But when I was talking with my coach, and she was like, "What do you think makes a woman powerful?" Because I keep getting this message at the moment, when you keep getting the sign about that I have to claim my power, be in my power, my power, my power. I've had different weeks when it's been like surrender. This week is about my power. And I said, and then if I was really quiet and really honest, I was like, I don't want to be a bitch. And I have equated women in their power as being a bitch. And to me, I was like, ooh, I don't want to be that. And so I've been confused and not wanting to claim it because of my perceptions of people that I thought had claimed their power. And in truth, they totally hadn't. They were just projecting something else. And so to avoid anyone else having the same ridiculous confusion as I have, what really makes a woman powerful? Like, what is that?
I love what you just said, because, I mean, The Devil Wears Prada. Did we all watch that movie?
Right?
Okay.
I love it.
Those are the examples of what it means, a woman in power. That describes the exact example that most of us witnessed of what it means to be powerful. So no wonder why a lot of women who are really truly loving and caring don't feel like they can be powerful, because they feel that they'll have to become a bitch in order to be powerful, which is why I created the Empowered Woman Archetype system, because those kind of women, they're not in their feminine power, they're in their masculine power. The bitch archetype, which I can explain a little bit, the bitch archetype access power through the masculine, not the feminine. So what does it mean to be a powerful woman?
Yeah.
And we talked about that the feminine has to do with everything internal. A powerful woman is a woman who knows herself and is connected with her internal experience. What does this mean? A woman who knows and is comfortable and in touch with her desires. A woman who is connected to her creativity and truth. A woman who knows what she wants. A woman who loves. A woman who cares.
I love it. Yeah.
That's a powerful woman. A woman who is so okay with who she is and so owning who she is that she doesn't have to explain herself to anyone, that she owns herself unapologetically, and she doesn't have to apologize to others. She doesn't have to dim her lights so she doesn't make others feel bad or threatened or threatened. She is fully who she is. And in that power, and maybe you can feel my energy here, those of you who feel it, in that power, you become unstoppable. You can create anything that you want. Think about for a moment. The woman creates life in her womb.
Mm.
I mean, can we just stop for a moment and feel that you are creating, you have the potential, whether you are pregnant or not, you're born with the potential to creating life in your womb,
Mm.
to hosting a life in your body.
Mm.
And if you can feel that for a moment, and maybe I invite anyone here to close your eyes and feel the potential that's within us.
Mm.
Now, a woman becomes powerful when she accepts every part of herself. Being
Mm.
unapologetic means to be in connection and in truth with all aspects of you, in full acceptance of who you are.
Mm.
That's a powerful woman. You're not afraid of your bitch. You don't hate your victim. You are not resentful to your good girl, and you let your wild woman run all over. Now,
Yes.
now, right?
I
That's a
love it.
powerful woman.
Right?
It's when we own, and we don't live in shame. We're not, that's what I mean by not apologizing, is you don't live in shame. You walk into a room and you exude this confidence and people are drawn to you and they don't even know why. I was just doing a Facebook Live in a group because this is so funny. Like, it really blew my mind. I was talking to a client the other day, and I remember this episode, this thing that happened, and she was like, "This just makes so much sense to me." And I'm like, "Oh, cool. All right." So I went to this conference that you also did, this program that you did, that you and I did, but we did it separately. And I went. My first conference was in LA.
Mm-hmm.
And there were about 100 and something women, and we were all having fun. And at some point we had a lunch break, and we all went to lunch. And so here I am, and there was maybe 8 women on the table, and I just jump in, and I got there late, so they served me food, and I look at the plate first of all, and I'm looking at the plate, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so beautiful. It was so beautifully presented. I'm like, ladies, isn't it awesome? How gorgeous this is, right? I'm being totally me.
Mm.
And then I tried the salmon. I'll never forget it because it was so delicious. And I just did totally unconscious, not unconscious. I was just being myself. And I tried a little piece, and I'm like, oh my God, this is so good. Did you guys try them? And I was just doing that. Did you ladies try the salmon? Isn't it delicious? And I'm like, oh my God, this is so good. And I was in it. I was being myself, completely and fully enjoying in that energy of pleasure and experiencing myself, not apologizing. I wasn't asking for permission. I was just being myself. Well, guess what? Before that day was over, I had 2 women approach me. They're like, Paula, I don't know what you do, but I want to work with you.
I love it.
And I'm like, are you kidding? Oh my God, this is so good. Yeah, I don't care what you do. Let's just have a call after when we come back. And and they ended up working with me. And one of them worked for 3 years with me.
Wow. Wow. Because she was like, I have never enjoyed my salmon like that.
Well, right, but it was the feminine. That's what I'm saying.
No, I'm just joking.
No, but yeah, exactly. I was so in it, and I was so fully owning my body, my femininity, myself, that they felt drawn to me. They didn't know why. And this is when we get so caught up in strategies and making funnels and breaking and I'm not saying that's not necessary. Of course it is necessary for a business to grow. But if we solely get fixated in that, which is masculine, and we forget about the other part of the feminine that will help you become attractive, then you're screwed. And then you have to work really hard to make the perfect copy and the perfect thing. When I show up in a video, and you probably are feeling it right now, and I'm not being cocky, like I'm really being honest, because when you can be yourself, people really feel drawn to you. Totally. This is no magic. So I mean, I don't know if I answer your question now, because again, I go on a roll, but and the mate, by the way, this is an Argentine drink. It's mate, so it's like getting me all excited because it has a little caffeine. So,
are you sure you need that? No, I'm just kidding. Oh my God, I love this. This is like the easiest thing ever. I just set you up and you go for it. I'm like, done. I love it. I love it. So you mentioned 4 archetypal type thing. Well, I think you did anyway. So it was the good girl, the wild woman, the victim, and the bitch, right? Can you, my life, again, this all speaks to me so much, because I have been trying to be the good girl for as long as I can remember. And sometimes I actually was getting bored of myself. I'm like, oh my God, I'm bored. This is ridiculous. Because I was trying to be everybody for everybody else, and, you know, the good student and the good friend, and like, you know, not stepping anybody's toes, and like, and being playing very small. I think my wild woman got let loose after like a bottle of wine. I'm trying, and I used to joke that I got into my feminine. It took me a bottle of wine to get into my feminine. And that was my 20s. I was like, oh, that's why I like this so much. But can you just speak to some of that? Like, what is the good girl? Just talk us through that and how it all works.
Yeah. So in my story, now going back to your first question.
Yeah.
In my story, right? I learned to be a good girl as well, right? And to please everyone. And the truth of the good girl is that the good girl really, like the good girl, it's all about love, relationships, connections. She's compassionate, she's kind, she's loving, she loves to make everyone happy. She that's how she gets excited, you know. When everyone's happy, she's happy. She's very innocent in her, like when she's connected to spirit, you know. She's just very like happy-go-lucky, you know. That's the good girl. However, the thing with the good girl, and why most of us became the bitch and learned to access our power from our masculine, is because the good girl has eventually taken advantage of, and she fell into the shadow side, which is the victim.
Okay.
So then eventually the good girl did not know how to say no, was afraid that if she said no, others were not going to love her or like her. She felt like she had to do it for others first, because if she took care of herself, she was going to be seen as selfish. And so she then, you know, the victim has no boundaries. She doesn't know how to say no. She pleases everybody. She becomes a martyr. She thinks that everyone's against her. And, you know, so that's the shadow of the good girl. So when we really think about when we think that we're thinking about the good girl, we're really thinking about the victim, because the good girl, it's actually, she is that high spirit and innocence, and like she wants everything to be good, you know. And some people see her as, oh, she's so stupid, like, you know. The good girl believes in magic and miracles, and she's like, oh my gosh, she lives in the clouds, whatever, you know. But it's not true. This is a part of us. This is like the innocent part of us. And we require that innocence of spirit. I mean, any of the philosophies, the Buddhists, they all teach that innocence of spirit. And that's what the good girl has. And she's connected to pure love, you know, like she opens her heart first. She doesn't care to be hurt. Now the victim is more like reserved and at the defense, you know, and she feels like the world's against her, that nobody loves me, and, you know. So eventually, so that's from that side. And then our wild woman is very inconvenient for society.
Okay. Got it.
Okay. Why? Because she has a voice. The good girl learned to shut up. The good girl was told since little that she had to stay put and quiet and not talk.
Mm.
The wild woman comes roaring from the woods and says, what? Right? And she's like, rah! And she comes out and speaks. And she's not afraid to show herself. And she's connected with her sexuality and her sensuality. And she's bold and she's unapologetic and she's adventurous. She loves, you know, like in the spur of the moment, she just like goes on a road trip and she doesn't care. Like, okay, fine, I'll do whatever. But it's very uncomfortable for most people because she follows her own rules. She doesn't follow the rules of society. Whereas the good girl learned to follow the rules of society. She's really good at following the rules.
Yeah.
So when the wild woman is not honored, and when the wild woman is locked in the closet, and when the wild woman is made wrong, she falls into the role of the bitch, her shadow.
Got it. Yeah. Okay.
And she closes her heart. She builds a wall. She doesn't have a barrier. She builds a wall, and she's like, F everyone. And she becomes very arrogant. She becomes very like, she's like, no, like she puts she just stops people. Like she doesn't even let anyone in, which is so not feminine, right? Like, because if you think about the feminine biology, we are penetrated, right? Like we receive, we're like, our bodies as feminine are designed to be penetrated, to experience in the sexual relationship. Men experience the woman from the inside. They penetrate us. If you think about men, their bodies, their genitals are outside. Our genitals are inside. Do you feel the internal and the external that we were talking about before, feminine and masculine?
Yeah, for sure.
You see that, right? So my so the bitch closes off, and then she becomes like very like, she builds this fort and then no one can come in. But really deep inside, she's very deeply hurt. Because it's not her nature. She now deprived herself from joy, from love, from her emotions, which is the feminine.
Yeah. Okay.
So feminine is emotions, masculine is thought.
So would the powerful woman, the ideal one, be a mix of the good girl and the wild woman?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Why? Okay. And that's the empowered woman. That's what I call. Why? Here's why. Because being all like lovey-dovey and, you know, connected with magic and miracles and, you know, we have the risk to fall into our shadow very easily, because we're always want to go please and make sure everyone's happy. So if we stay there alone, we'll have the tendency to like, woo, like fall into our shadow, because it's just, we're so vulnerable, right? Like to that. And then if we are on the wild woman alone, we just can go run naked in the woods and don't care about anything else. I don't care, like whatever. So how do you hold a relationship? How can you be in a group or have a business? How do you? Because if I change my mind and tomorrow, well, I don't want more clients anymore. How do you do that?
Right.
Like there's gotta be.
I'm thinking of a few people I know that might be in their wild woman and nothing else.
Yeah.
And that.
But a lot of.
I'm just thinking of one particular person, and my friend, we were talking about her just the other day. He's like, she's crazy. She's legitimately crazy. And I was like, yeah, but she's just dancing to her own beat completely.
Which is, again, it's not about being right or wrong. However, the wild woman holds definitely the torch of our feminine power. And the good girl holds the torch of love and relationships. So together, they're such a powerful force. It's in the alliance of the good girl and the wild woman that the feminine, that we become empowered. And the reason being is, here's what happens. The wild woman tells the good girl, darling, I know you love to give. And I know it's so much joy, like you get so much joy from it. However, if we don't pay attention to ourselves first, because the wild woman thinks of herself first, if we don't think of ourselves first, then we're going to end up falling into victim. And we're going to be disempowered. The victim and the bitch archetypes are the disempowered states of the feminine. The good girl and the wild woman are the empowered states of the feminine. However, like I said, individually, they don't work. We need that connection. So then on the other flip side of the coin, the good girl tells the wild woman, darling, I know we love to run at the beat of our own drum, and I know you love to walk naked in the woods. However, we have relationships in our lives. We have a business. We have some responsibilities, because the good girl is very responsible. So it's like, okay, can we find a way to create what our desires are and bring them into the world? A woman that is in her wildness alone cannot serve the world. A woman who is in her good girl also cannot serve the world, because she comes to the risk to lose her power. Same with the wild woman. The wild woman, for example, doesn't care about sleeping with married men. She has no codes. And when we live in society, there are certain codes. I don't go into Manhattan naked, because it's just, because I need to dress, I need to have clothes on.
This time of year too.
Right, but you know what I'm saying? Right, there are certain rules. Like, I'm not saying you have to follow all the rules, but there are certain rules that you require to follow. And that makes sense. It's just part of being in a society. Now, there is a beautiful time to, it's healthy. Like, I do my Empower Woman retreats, Wild Woman experiences, and we allow the wild woman to come out on her own. For sure. There's places where you can I allow my wild woman to have fun when I'm having fun with my husband, like in bed, of course. Like, I give her free range, but I don't go on wild woman all over the place at any time.
Right.
Except for today, she's a little bit more out there than usual.
I love it. People need to experience this though, because it's amazing. And you don't see it often enough, right? Like, you just don't see it. So I'm glad she came out today.
Yeah. And again, we're dancing with the good girl. I'm not just like, because I'm considering everybody. I'm not just like vomiting on you, whatever. Like, I'm being mindful, and that's the good girl. The good girl brings like that. She's like connected. So she cares for others. She cares what she says. And, and she says it in a way that will feel good to others. Because you can set a boundary and you can honor yourself, but you don't have to be a bitch about it. You can just say, this is what feels good to me. And I understand that it might not feel good to you, but this is what feels good to me. And I would appreciate if you can consider this. Like, that would be something that an empowered woman would say, instead of like, well, that's it. That's what I got. And if you like it, I don't care. Like, that would be more of a bitch thing.
Yeah.
Get the difference?
Yes. And that's how I think at some level had perceived boundaries. And I've been that was another massive learning. I was literally I've had a male voice in my head once shout boundaries. I was lying in bed on my own, and I just heard the word boundaries, and I was like, where did that come from? But that is how much I needed to learn the lesson. I was literally having it shouted at me. Thank you, whoever spirit angel guide shouted that at me, but I needed to hear it. And I love that you said, like, there's a way to hold your boundaries without being a bitch. And I think that's where we're not really taught that, I guess.
Yeah. Right. That's what I was going to say. That's what I teach women the most. What is an empowered woman? Like, how do you do it?
right?
You know, how do you set a boundary that it's honoring of you and others? How do you ask for what you want? Women don't ask for what, like the good girl alone would never ask. The wild woman is courageous. She's bold. So together, you know, so the good girl is the one that has all of the desires, but she would keep it to herself because she learned that her desires don't matter, that she has to please everybody else. So when the wild woman comes in, she allows the good girl to express those desires into the world. Does that make sense?
Yes.
This is why we need both.
Another one of my I mean, I'm obviously I'm a lot better than I used to be, but I'm like, oh yeah. And if you don't know that you're going to have to learn all this stuff, it's a lot harder. So hopefully anyone who's like, and I still need to continue. I mean, we're all on this journey, right? We're becoming.
Yeah.
And I was in Paris with a bunch of girlfriends, and it was the question, you know, we were trying to come up, it was like, what do you desire? What do you actually want to create? And I was like, so stuck. I was like, I was like copying someone's homework at school. I'm like, what do you desire? What do you desire? Right? Because I didn't know what I wanted. And
you buried the good girl. She was buried the good girl from being in the bitch arc. The bitch buries the good girl. Yeah. Go ahead.
But just, you know, I was like, and then I'd see what other people, you know, they wanted. And I was like, oh, that's good. I want that too. Oh yeah. Awesome. But I hadn't even allowed myself to dream it, imagine it, know what I wanted. And it's very hard to get anything if you don't know what you want, right?
Right.
How do people, I mean, I know it's not just like one easy step, but how do you start to uncover your true desires? Like, is it a permission thing? Like, how does that work?
Well, in my world, what I would say is doing the work of healing the victim. She's the one that's she's the one that scares. And she's the one that's been hurt. And she's the one that's holding like she's feared, you know, she's in fear. So she's the one. And then, you know, obviously the bitch too, for me is doing the work, the healing work, because I remember my first coach who I hired to help me with this piece of the feminine. And because I was so hungry and I was so tired of thinking of everybody else and not me. Like I was tired and I was in a trap. I didn't know how to get out. I really, I'm bringing the emotion because I really did not know how to stop it. It was such a compulsion to keep doing for others and doing for others and doing for others that I didn't know how to stop it. And I remember when I think the sun is coming down, you're seeing me darker and darker, but let me know and I can turn on the light. But
that's okay.
But what happened was that I remember I had this first session with this coach and she asked me that question, Paula, what do you desire? It was blank. Like, I don't know. What do you mean you don't know? I never learned to think for myself. I didn't know what it meant to think of me, for me. Like I would like do whatever felt like I should do. But I never did what I wanted, what I truly desired. Yeah.
It's, and taking the layers off, doing the healing allows you to open into that. And I think, you know, I'm closer. Sometimes I still have to go and remind myself, hey, check in. What do you even want here? Is this actually what you want? Because it's so hard. It's easy to slip back into that pattern or to stop if it's not been a conscious thing of asking yourself.
Yeah,
it's, you know, we sometimes slip into forgetting that we should ask ourselves.
And I also want to demystify the fact that the work of the feminine is hard. It's not. It's really not hard. Like when you when this, like of course I cracked the code, I want to say I cracked the code, and that's why I created the Empowered Woman archetype system, because now it's like when you have the archetypes, it's so easy because we're so much in our mind, we're so used to that. I created a way where you can actually put it together and you're like, oh, right, so this is who got activated and this is what I need to do, and it doesn't become mechanical, because you actually start tapping into, the more the work that you do, the more you tap into it, and the more you tap into it, and the easier it becomes more and more and more. So it depends, how, like, the approach that I have, it's really transformative. Like, it's like, boop, it's transformational in the moment. It's not dragging, going to your childhood. Like, that's not the kind of work I'm talking about. It's not like healing the wounds. Like, yes and no. And yes, it is so powerful, and it's transformational, which means that it's not that you're going to go back. You might go back, but not to the level that you were before. And then the more you practice being in your power, the more, it's like anything, like when you learn how to drive, when you learn to do something new. So it's really about understanding a new way of being. That's all.
Yeah.
So it's not that hard. Like, I want to take that thing of like, oh my God, I have to take like a sabbatic to learn about the feminine and then come back to my business. No, you can do both. Like, you just do it at the same time. It's not going to take away from you. It's not going to take your energy. It's going to give you more energy, actually. When you do this work, you're going to have way more energy to do your work, the work that you love. Absolutely.
I love this. And actually, it's so fun, right? Because you get to experiment with stuff, and it's like, oh, you
get to connect yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. I love it. And cool things start happening, and it's just,
oh my God, it's light bulb after light bulb after light bulb. Yesterday I gave a class on my Empower Woman community, and my client was putting like the light bulb, those little,
yeah,
like in the comments, whatever you call those.
Yeah.
But,
That's yeah.
And he was like, oh my God. And it's so fun, because it's like, it's like, oh my God. And you start experiencing life. You start experiencing the magic. You start experiencing these miracles, and these things start happening in your life that you're like, where is this coming from? And not just money miracles, like many miracles. Like, you meet this amazing person, and you meet this thing, and you have this serendipitous thing, and that's flow.
Yeah.
That's flow. That's the confirmation that you are in the flow.
Yes. I love it.
So it's like you activate the energy. That's it. It's all about energy at the end of the day anyway.
Absolutely. Oh my goodness. This has just been amazing. It's such a good conversation. I'm so glad you and your wild woman turned up today.
Well, again, the Empowered Woman is done, but my predominant aspect right now is definitely the sassy wild woman.
Yes, I know. And I need to tap into that a little bit more, I think. But where can we find you? We're going to have all your links just below this video, but where can we find you? And I think you have a free gift for everybody as well.
Yeah. So, what I created out of all of this work and everything that I talked about, I created what it's called the Empowered Woman Guide, which is, it's really, it's 7 steps to connecting with your feminine. So it's so super cool, and it's 79 pages. So it's not like it's just a little thingy, it's like good, like it's a lot of content and a lot of good exercise to start practicing everything that I talked about. So that would be like a great start. It also explains the archetype more in detail, which you'll love. And they can find me on paulalacobara.com, PaulaLacob as in boy, ARA.com. They can go read my story, because I mean, we didn't talk about my story that much, but you can go read it, and you might need to take a few, like maybe 10, 15 minutes to read it, because it's long, but it's purposely done long, because I want you to get to know me, and I want you to identify with my story, because not everyone shows themselves so openly, which is the advantage of being in your power. You're not afraid to show who you are. And also, and I do retreats, like I mentioned. I work with women in person, I work with women. The intensives, I work with women in, private coaching. I do it and I have an amazing community that women are so on, and they're so open, and they're so sharing. So if you want a dose of femininity, and not just femininity like unicorns and rainbows, with all due respect, I'm talking about femininity and power, like really women who are up to amazing things in the world and who want to create an impact, and you can do it from the feminine. And I am proof, it's still continuing to challenge myself to higher levels. Like when I was talking about women being on boards and making decisions, definitely that's where I like to be. I'm not there yet, but that's my journey, and that's where I'm moving into. And I want to really show women that it's possible to do it from the feminine.
Yes.
And so far it's been working, so I have no doubt that absolutely it's possible. So.
And it's so needed, and I love it. And I love you, and thank you.
Yeah, it's what's going to shift everything. The feminine is being invited. We keep destroying nature. We keep destroying relationships. That's not the feminine. Like I said, the woman is the one that says when it's enough, and we need to stop saying it's enough.
Amen.
We need to start saying it's enough.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you so much. It's been so good, and I'm just going to hit stop and thank you again.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.